Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is the latest edition of 5 underseen, underrated, or forgotten films you need to check out. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about these films. Let me know if you have any questions about these films. Let me know if you agree with me about these films. So, we've got quite the variety this time around. We've got one movie from the 80s, two from the 90s, one from the aughts, and one from the 10s. So, let's just go ahead and start. We're going to start off with the most recent of the 5 titles this week, and that is 2010's Buried, starring Ryan Reynolds. This one is directed by Rodrigo Cortés. I'm sorry. And as I said earlier, this came out in 2010. This is more or less a one-man show. Ryan Reynolds is literally on camera by himself for 98% of this film. He's kidnapped, buried alive, and he has a cell phone, and he's trying to get rescued before his air runs out. The plot is as simple as that. Ryan Reynolds is red hot right now, as everybody knows, with the Deadpool Wolverine movie that's out right now. Quite honestly, this is his best performance, in my opinion. He is phenomenal in this movie. Like I said, he more or less carries this movie totally on his own, without any kind of comedy or physicality at all. It's just a great performance in an extremely intense film. So, the first selection this week is Buried. Now, from the 90s, we have Sam Raimi's incredible Western, The Quick and the Dead, with an outstanding cast. And I do not mean hyperbole with that in any way, shape, or form. Headlining, we have Sharon Stone, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gene Hackman, where is he? Russell Crowe. And then, those are just the top 4. Cleanup, we have, as you can see right there, Lance Henriksen, Pat Hingle, Gary Sinise, Keith David, Tobin Bell. Jigsaw himself is in this movie. This movie is awesome. Not much for plot. It's just a town where they're having a quick draw competition, and Gene Hackman is the sadistic sheriff in charge. Sharon Stone is the mysterious stranger who comes in. Great entertaining film. I cannot recommend this movie enough. This came out in 1996, I believe. And like I said, the great Sam Raimi directed this film. So the second selection this week is The Quick and the Dead. Our third selection, and this is cheese. This is Gouda cheese. This is Stone Cold, with ex-football player Brian Bosworth in the starring role. And again, with Lance Henriksen. And also joining Lance Henriksen this time is the great William Forsythe, among others. This one's directed by Craig R. Baxley, and again, came out in 1991. This is about an undercover cop who infiltrates a biker gang. And who cares? Plot doesn't make a bit of difference. This movie is all about attitude, and like I said, cheese. There is more cheese in this movie than in the entire state of Wisconsin in which I live, and we are the dairy state. Lance Henriksen and William Forsythe are awesome in this movie. This movie, again, not going to win any awards, but it's a ton of fun. So the third selection this week is Stone Cold. Our fourth selection this week is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. This is my steelbook. This one stars the great John C. Reilly, Jenna Fischer, and Tim Meadows, and it's directed by Jake Kasdan. As you can see, this steelbook has 2 different versions, the theatrical and American Cox, the unbearably long, self-indulgent director's cut. Excuse me. This is a brilliant parody of Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash story, among many other music biopics. You follow this guy from the 50s through the 60s into the 70s and ending in the early 80s. This movie or in the early 90s, I should say. This movie, like I said, really juvenile, but it is absolutely hysterical, and the songs are actually quite catchy. I love this film. It is definitely among my favorite musical comedies ever. So, the fourth selection this week is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. And last, and certainly not least, from the 80s, 1982 to be exact, The World According to Garp. Starring Robin Williams, Glenn Close, John Lithgow, and Mary Beth Hurt, among others. Directed by the incredible George Roy Hill, who also directed The Sting and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, among other great movies. I saw this movie when I was a kid, 15 years old. It was the first time that I had ever seen Glenn Close, because this was her movie debut. And it was the first time I really noticed John Lithgow. Both of them were nominated for Oscars for this movie. And this was Robin Williams' first stab at being a dramatic actor. Before this, he had been in Popeye and a couple other silly type movies. But this one, it's a comedy drama, emphasis on the drama. And it's an incredible, incredible film. This movie totally broke me when I was a child. It continues to break me 42 years later. So, the last selection this week is The World According to Garp. I hope you liked these selections. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe. Most importantly, leave those comments. I can't wait to hear from you. And we'll see you on the next one.